One.
One Mississippi, two Mississippi. Hello and welcome back to the Rational Investors Daily Brief. Woohoo! Party, party, party! How's that? This is Daily Brief.
There you go.
Are we
Yep. Hey, we did it. Way to go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Frivolity. As you can tell, I had a little assistance here today helping us getting the video going. Joshua! Or not Josh. Do you go by Joshua or is it just Josh?
Joshua.
Oh,
Joshy
okay.
Poo, whatever you want.
Josh, sweetheart, love of the world, awesome best friends he brings to TRI meetups. Just an all-around awesome guy. Is on the call with us today. Woohoo! Hey, Josh!
Woohoo! Hey, Brian!
you UK guys, you love to mimic my my high pitch.
That's how we communicate all the time. Hey, Brian, how you doing today? I'm good.
Anyway, welcome back to the show. It's a little bit past the top of the hour, everybody. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. As you can tell, we started a minute or two late because I was just so enamored. I haven't talked to Josh directly and heard his voice in, I guess, probably since the meetup, eh?
Properly since the meetup, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, geez, doesn't he have just a suave voice? He just, oh, those girls in their panties, they're toast. Charm them right off.
Wet toast. I'll stop.
Yeah, I know. I better not go down.
There's ladies on the call.
Yeah, I know. Why did I go there? Anyway.
Why did you start that?
So I'm all giddy and super excited. Of course, Kevin's here. He's keeping us on course. How you doing this morning, Kevin?
Doing good, thank you. Hey, everybody.
Good. We had an awesome TRI SOF meeting last night, and I just had another root canal. It turns out he didn't finish the first one. What a mess. Anyway, so I was a bit feeling delicate last night, so they carried the load, and thank you very much, guys. I thought there was a fantastic bunch of ideas that came out of the call last night. Wasn't it great listening to some of Kevin's ideas yesterday? I love these daily briefs, day in, day out, just always action packed, never a dull moment, and lots and lots of good content for everybody. Josh, this is his first presentation sort of on Daily Brief. We're kind of playing it a little bit by ear this morning, but I think he's suggested that maybe we'll do the same thing as we did with Kevin yesterday. I'll give you maybe a 20-minute rant here to begin your day. And then we'll pop on over to Josh's world, and he's got a whole bunch of fun treats for everybody today. So look forward to that. And also, too, we have level 3 group class tutorial, our group tutorial session later on this afternoon. That's at 1 o'clock Pacific time after market close. So I'm going to try and grab those treats for class today, and I'll be passing those out too, because they're actually directly tie into what we did last week with our Pro Traders Workbench. So super stoked. Like I said, every single day, something new, something exciting, never a dull moment around TRI. And what I really like, and I love this about TRI, is we seem to attract good, honest, caring people that really are looking out for their fellow traders and fellow students, and we're working together as a team to get better at this thing. I've noticed that my trading has improved working with the community. I love working with trading partners, level oneers. I saw you guys sort of throwing those ideas out there this morning in your room. Excellent. The best trading I ever did when I was a prop trader was when I had a trading partner. Just on balance, I like the sort of camaraderie in the lounge. And in fact, I even tweeted out something. I was away at the dentist yesterday. I came back, and I just saw people just sort of, reiterating my crazy little isms. I say them because often they're cliche, and they happen more often than not. And I really like the fact that I can actually sort of walk away from TRI a little bit, and I see that the inertia that we've created here is continuing on. So it's really, really makes me pleased. As for the broader market, the problem here, of course, and I've talked about this at length, is, if you aren't a fan of astrology, let's say, then that's fine. I know a lot of people, it's very esoteric, it's very out there, it's very sort of, it's beyond my physical control, so I can't believe in it, that kind of thing. I do think that this 2020, we will look back in history and go, wow, that was just an absolutely insane year. I am seeing a lot of sort of anecdotes that this doesn't make sense. Stuff is just not working. Stuff that was supposed to work isn't in this environment. And I'd have to say, to be honest with you, 30 years active in the markets, I have not seen a situation where interest rates are basically at zero to all intents and purposes. And literally the entire system is in question. I know there are a lot of people that come here. Well, Brian, I want to trade. I give it. It's a static one-line movement. Like, one thing that used to drive me crazy when I was a broker. Write this down, people. Is used to have people come in and say, "Oh, we just banged out a double or whatever on a trade idea that you had. Well, so that means my return this month is 17.79%. So if I annualize that, then this money should be this dollar figure at that date down the road." And it doesn't work that way. I can just tell you, from 30 years playing this game, it doesn't work that way. So, the way that I'm approaching the market right now is I am considering this harvest season for a lot of the ideas that we stepped in and bought through the fall and winter. Some of them were little old lady strategy purchases, so I didn't have to worry too much about risk. And, like some of the ideas that I recently got wins off, I was able to handle some heat because I did my fundamental research and I believed that the companies were sustainable. I was also telling, Josh, getting ready for the call today, that I'm more concerned in my brain about process goals day in, day out, because that's really the only thing that I can control as a trader is, did I follow my process? And as I had publicly mentioned the other day, I actually felt perfectly fine exiting that U.S. truck company, USAK, at a loss, because it was my plan that I was going to take this setup. The setup failed, and I just simply had to act when the market gave me the opportunity to basically exit at appropriate levels. So, believe it or not, I don't mind something like this, and, just basically having to be patient and disciplined and just wait for the market to come back to my level. We had a recent one in a crypto stock that collapsed, and it's over on the bulletin board exchange. I'll probably do exactly the same strategy with that one, and just be patient. We do know the amount of shares outstanding on Draper's company, so I don't think it's going off the board. It's just sitting there over on the bulletin board doing absolutely nothing right now. Whoops, I don't know what the hell I just pressed here. Oh, goodness, what did I just do? And so I just have to sit on it, right? Sit on it. As an example of a losing trade idea and how I sort of manage it. Remember, I don't like to take a lot of risk on any ideas anyways. So, because I keep portfolio risk down below somewhere between 1-2%, it's not really the end of the world if all hell breaks loose and the ideas have to go sit on the shelf for a while. No, I can't even find the damn symbol. Anyway, it was that rebonds. Anyway, it's no big deal. Was nice to see this morning. Maybe before we get into the smaller conversations, let's talk a little bit about sort of what the broader market context is. When you look at an image like this, I think you should get a very clear message that risk-off proxies are being liquidated. I think it's just that simple. It's interesting how we did have a little foreshadowing of this in yen weakness there a few days ago, or maybe even a day or so ago. I do remember seeing this and going, gee whiz, there's something not right about that. So anybody who really likes to follow this risk on, risk off, it's weird how the yen has been a bit of a little leader here. I don't know. Tough to say. But we've been watching the bond market for a very long time, and I talked recently about a strangle trade. I think you can clearly see that the narrow sideways channel has broken to the downside. And it seems to me, just in simplest terms, that I don't know what the hell I did with the damn chart, though. I have them in about 20 different places. I think it's over here. Yeah. So I think the situation now with the bond market, especially with the way the oil has bottomed, keep in mind the bonds are insanely inflation sensitive, and if oil is really accepting higher, then that's going to be problematic for the bonds and inflation expectations. Also, too, of course, we have tons and tons of stimulus and Fed's printing money, blah, 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 blah. So, that should be inflationary. And stocks continue to work their way higher, so, that should be inflationary. So, put it all together. I'm feeling like the bond market has broken here. Well, we'll see what happens. And maybe we can hold these lows and start turning back up. But the message that I've just I put out on Twitter and stuff like this was, I think that this is very natural. It's very healthy. The irony of it all is, can you see that all they're going to do is they're just going to bring bond prices and interest rates right back to where they were right at the start of this nonsense. So the irony of it all is that this isn't really a crash, but does it make sense that if you see a red candle day like that, boom, right down, massive sell-off in the bond market. The media, of course, they're going to go absolutely apeshit. Right? And they're going to be like, oh, credit crisis. The worst part about it, of course, is this is going to kill, the longer ender borrowers, credit card purchasers, all that. And what I'm hearing is the credit card companies are saying, yeah, you could defer purchases and stuff and defer your payments. But I did start reading some news articles that were saying that, oh boy, you better be careful, because that doesn't mean the debt's gone away. And oh, by the way, they are accumulating interest on that debt. Just because you've missed the payment, that doesn't mean the big bad credit cards are going away. So that's kind of the scenario I could see. And, maybe this is, the crisis. What I also see, too, and I thought, we had a new site member come on recently, Mr. Krispy Kreme, and he's been, posting a lot in the astrology room, which I absolutely love. It's almost like the cherry on top of the sundae. At TRI now. And I just popped in there this morning just reviewing what they're talking about. And this gentleman's a world of knowledge. I've got him sort of pointed towards trying to identify EVUs. So any longtime site members and students of mine will remember EVUs from days gone by. I haven't really done too much study of that recently, but I do find it fascinating that, of course, he's quite interested in Venus here. And Earth, Venus, Uranus, in my opinion, are important angular relationships, and they were to Mr. Gann. So can't wait to see what's going to come out of that. But what I would say is that for some reason he is looking for some sort of mid-June sort of pivot. I do like the idea, ironically enough, if we go back to Bitcoin, that this scenario actually turns out to play out. which would suck, but I suppose crazy market. Now maybe this ABCD final leg is just going to be boom, 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 boom. But again, there's that sort of 2/3 apex. There's that sort of, early to mid-June sort of, there's something about Venus coming out of retrograde or something like that that maybe is our catalyst here. And then, of course, Brian and his crazy celestial events. I do like the idea of some sort of pivot here for end of June, beginning of July for all that Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto event. I guess that's kind of that I'm still on sort of course with thinking that. The only issue here, though, I wonder, and this is sort of what I've been thinking about recently, is I think you could argue that sort of like the first event that we had, and especially, remember when Pluto and Saturn crossed there back in January, and it was a very quiet event. And I think that sort of started the cascade. And then what I think has to happen is different variables, different things that we're just not expecting. So I think everybody is sort of right now thinking, oh, it's going to be, the whole year is going to be dominated by COVID. But I don't think it works that way. I think COVID was one of the events. I think you're probably actually going to see civil unrest and, what I actually, and I was posting this in the lounge, is, especially with the way Bitcoin acted on that Donald Trump, bring in the military, let's crush the rebellion, sort of like Darth Vader, kind of kill the rebels kind of talk. Bitcoin went fucking nuts. But what was fascinating, what I found, was that to me, that almost felt like a catalyst event. And it almost feels like this was like a focal point. And what's really interesting about this kind of thinking is, believe it or not, predicting where price is going to go through these, I don't think is a good idea. I mean, like what you see in the stock market. The stock market's going fucking crazy right now. But I could see something along these kind of lines. And again, that was that sort of isn't this fascinating how everything compressed right into that event, and when Mr. Trump shit his pants and kind of went off the rails there, things sort of spiked, and then we came right sort of back down. Now, I don't know. I'm almost thinking like right now is the eye of the storm. Everything's sort of just calmed down now, and everybody's now saying, okay, who makes the next move? And right now, and I think this is right across the entire spectrum of the whole world. I actually really like the idea that Bitcoin, in a weird sort of way, is almost like the world's pulse. I was shocked at this. It's just like, it was almost just like a personification of that anxiety. And then when nothing happened on the other side of that event, things came right back down to sort of check the norm. I wouldn't be surprised here, guys, this whole sort of market symmetry. Believe it or not, I wouldn't be surprised. And, I'm crazy, so just put up with my nutsomeness. But I wouldn't be surprised if we actually have a complete replication of this. And it might even be something like that. And we're just going to flip this around. Boom. I think that's the way I want to do it. Mirrored? No, maybe not mirrored. Flipped. Is that right? Yeah. So, something like... Oh, no, yeah, I guess I do want it. Also, mirrored. There. Something like that. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. Look how the levels line up nicely on that trend line, then back, then up to the trend line again, then back to the apex of this trend line. So, you like that, eh? Isn't that kind of groovy? That's kind of what I'm thinking. I think we're in the eye of the storm right now, and everything feels like it's just sort of calm right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if once we leave the sort of the apex of this event, we head back into the storm. So yeah, I'll totally screenshot that for you if you guys like this. If anything, just sort of keep it as sort of a. This is what this crazy Beamish guy is kind of thinking. Oops, actually, I gave it to you, Kevin. Kevin's the only one who's allowed to get it. Where is the lounge? All right, over there. So, how do you make head or tail out of this kind of market? I really think you have to be just insanely disciplined with your setups. Insanely disciplined with risk management. I love playing the little TRI SOF club because I never put more than about 1 or 2% of my money into any of these things. So I never have to worry in my eyes about the end of the world. It just doesn't happen. I mean, frankly, I'm still sitting on about 70-80% cash. So, I have fun, make a few $100 here, make a few $100 there, watch my account balance go up, but I never have to worry about not being able to come back and play the game tomorrow. If you're leverage trading, then obviously you have to be a little more disciplined about getting stopped out of ideas, but same idea. Don't take too much risk. Just be insanely obsessed about risk management. And, what I had said earlier about me taking a loss appropriately. In my eyes, I followed the process. I acted responsibly. And I did the right thing. I don't mind losing a few $100 if it means that when I win, I make like $500, $600, $700, $800, whatever. I don't mind that. That doesn't bother me. And really, I don't even mind going through a losing streak. I remember back in like February, March there, I had to fucking get stopped out of a whole bunch of trades, and it was a pain in the ass. But I followed the process. I did what I was supposed to do, so the process goals were all met. And I actually felt relatively positive about it. It was tough coming on the site and going, I got stopped out again. I got stopped out again. But that's a trader's life. You get used to it. And then, of course, nobody, like when we go into frivolity there, like we've been over the past couple of weeks there, stocks doubling right, left, and center, you quickly forget about all those little paper cut losses. So hopefully that's helpful information for you. What I would say about this pattern here is I don't actually think it's necessarily bearish. I think it's drive you absolutely insanely insane-ish. There's going to be lots of stop washes. I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a stop wash against these lows. I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a stop wash against these lows. And they're just going to keep doing this. This will be a stop wash against these highs. This will be a stop wash against these lows. And they're just going to drive everybody crazy here. So go slowly. You don't have to make $1 million through 2020. If you just survive and if you actually see at the end of the year your account balance is higher, well, fucking rock on. We'll go back to the stupid idiocy of bull markets where it's just ridiculous making money, but that's not this kind of market. I do find it fascinating, like when I look at the broader spectrum, I don't actually see any like horrific collapses here. And when I was actually pulling up my crypto page, if you took this XLM trade, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days ago, nothing's really happened here. It's just like boring. Yeah, I know. I'm just making money from trading. Well, what can I do? So try not to get too swept up in the short term about any specific asset. And just trade your setups. I mean, it's just that simple. And, whether it be XLM here or, I've shown you, or you could have been in all three of these setups and, hey, man, I'm a pro trader trading setups. I mean, all three of them are just working away here. There's the NEO. We talked about this one the other day. And, of course, there's the good old Ethereum one. And, again, nothing's changed here. Isn't that funny? I find that kind of amusing. So anyway, so there's my sort of rant for this morning. I will just simply say there are a couple ideas that to sort of wind this up. I got a couple more minutes left here. There are a couple ideas that we're kicking around here. I'm going to approach them as just sort of fun little trades. I think that we're getting kind of close to the end of this craziness. U.S. dollar at some points here is going to find a bottom, which means that the bull market's going to finish U.S. dollar itself, or excuse me, stock market itself, we've talked about things like head and shoulder objectives off of the S&P 500s, and I do this with the public, right? Oh, Jesus, drive me nuts. So, we're getting awfully close. You can see the liquidity pool hunt right there. I mean, do we have a blow off top up top here to fill this gap in? I don't know. That's a gap still on the weekly charts too. So I don't know. But I mean, let's just acknowledge the fact that we're getting very long in the tooth here. And I think everybody sort of said that. So if you are going to go and come in on the buy side, for heaven's sakes, be very, very careful on these late purchases. I don't think this is the same market state as like a month or two ago where there's, like when Hut was down here in the 70 cent area, 60 cents. In my opinion, you could have bought almost anything in the stock market and you would have made money. But coming in on the stock market now and buying Hut, you can see it off of this chart. That's not really setting yourself up for success here. So just understand that this is what the market looks like, right? And, oh God, I could talk for another half an hour, but I want to wind this up for Josh. I will say one of the themes that I saw coming out of last night's meeting, which kind of caught my attention. I was a little bit surprised, but nonetheless, it is what it is. And that's the gold stocks themselves look very dangerous here. And I always say, the gold stocks themselves lead the commodity. So I do understand a lot of people are super gold bulls. So, I mean, just keep following your plan. Just do what you do. Where the hell's a goddamn gold stock chart? It's right there somewhere. But I noticed that in the meeting last night, and I was just like, whoa, I don't like the look of that. And I got to find it here. Crude gold. No, where the hell is it? Damn it. Here we are. This really did not fill me with a lot of confidence. So, clearly we're at top end of range, right? You could probably start drawing things like extensions. So, 127s, that's a pretty popular extension level. Doesn't surprise me. We could probably, hey, should we do a chaos level off of this? I bet those levels are in here too. Let's see if I go boom to boom. I don't know. That might be a bit aggressive, but let's see where that goes to. Whoops, wrong direction. Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, that's right off the map. I don't know whether that's useful or not. Let's see. Do we get something in here that helps us? No, they're still quite a bit higher, eh? Okay. Well, maybe this isn't the top, just a correction. But really did not like the look of this, right? Higher highs in price. Look at that MACD. Oh, Jesus, that's horrible. And RSI, your RSI fans, you can see we've broken up trends. Looks like we have pretty well-established downtrends. And this I thought was a good example of the second M, breaking through the 50 line there. That's usually a bad sign. You look at the price chart itself. Everybody should look at this. All level oneers, right? If anything, all level oneers should look at this and say, what does a market in transition look like? And I did see a lot of you guys level oneers talking a lot about indicators and setting up your charts and stuff. Really, guys, if you're going to spend time and effort this week on studying, I want you to study course material, and I want you to get good at seeing these heads and shoulders. And, we have one TRI-SOFer who is just banging it. And he pretty much all he does is trade head and shoulders is. So hopefully everybody looks at this and can see the outside downside key reversal from yesterday. So you'll do candlestick patterns, I guess, in about 2 or 3 weeks. So that's a pattern you have to learn. And like I said, this looks very bothersome in the face of this massively bearish divergence. So this is the kind of stuff you have to be able to read and see. And, look at this chart in itself. Is this inflationary or deflationary? That, to me, looks pretty darn dangerous. So, they say that stocks often lead commodities. I got to tell you, I don't like what I'm seeing there. for the gold market. Looks a little dangerous. So, with that said, I had one last gold stock on the books. It was kind of a fun one. I was telling the boys earlier I was trying to hop off it. It's pretty good profit. I mean, it didn't double, but nonetheless, I'm not really in love with it. When I saw that gold chart, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let this thing go here. And it's kind of funny because I threw my order in the order book. I was the only order at that level when the order book started this morning. And I noticed now I had my order there I put my order, it closed at 126 yesterday. Put my order in at 125. They actually gapped it lower and notice today's high, 124. They purposely did not want to give me a fill there. The fact that it's gapping lower here means that at some point down the road I should get my fill. And if it's in the next day or two, so be it. I mean, if she completely craps out, then, so be it. It's done. But I just looked at that and went, do I really have to be long this? I mean, why don't I just throw my bid right back in at 60, 70 cents and just be patient? So I just want to let you know that I was doing that today. Like some of these ETFs, oh boy, they are looking very yummy on the gold market. So I took 3 extra minutes, and of course, I don't know how long Josh's presentation is here today. If there's a little bit at the top of the hour to speak about, I can always answer any questions if you guys can think of any in the short term that maybe you'd like to pick my brain on. But where is Josh? Josh, you're around here somewhere.
Yo.
There he is. All right. So do we want to screen share you?
My beautiful face is showing.
Right now it is. And I can put
I'm going to
your
show
face.
a window.
Yeah, all you want to do is, screen share. Just like you did when we practiced.
We needed to practice.
Well, it's a good idea.
Yes.
All right. So
is my screen being shared?
It is. Now I have to jump through a couple hoops here. I see you've got the chat room open on your screen.
I see you've screenshotted the bow and arrow. I love this. This is so cool.
Actually, well, it's a module that I really have to work on, the market symmetry.
Plus the RSI module and the...
well, RSI, that was supposed to be somebody else, but I'm not going to go there
right.
today.
Baby pat. Okay, well, I mean, I might as well just jump right in and pivot from your presentation. Thank you, Brian. But today I thought I would talk a little bit about some PMA stuff, because that's my background before I came to TRI, the positive mental attitude stuff, my background as a teenager and where I came from. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that and then pivot into the process that Brian keeps talking about and my trading plan and the log. I'm going to go through my trading log, which I haven't shared with anyone yet, my journal a little bit. And then I've got this trading log that I'm going to give out to the level 3ers, which, Brian, you said they're coming up to that sort of area right now.
Well, I don't mind. Level 3ers just went through this. I don't mind if you share it with everybody on the site.
Perfect.
I mean, it's totally awesome. 1 + 1 = 3. It's just that this was a great dovetail because, in the level 1, we sort of teach, build a trading plan, journal, log. Grim sort of teaches you the basics about logging. What's great, I think, in this presentation is you're going to see it sort of in real time. When we get to the level 3, I start the whole program off with, okay, let's stop fucking around, everybody. And let's get serious about this. And what does your trader workbench actually look like? So I don't have a problem if you want to work on this stuff, in the interim before you get to that conversation with me. I'd much rather have that conversation with students who are like, well, I've already got this cool setup already going. How does it look like? You see my Demon Finder, all this? And I'll be like, okay, cool. Well, that was an easy week.
Right. So for me, that was probably the toughest lesson to actually sink in, because I love the trading stuff. I love eating the candy. I love knowing when the patterns, and I see a head and shoulders is comes in, and I love that stuff. Reading the charts and being able to analyze what happened in the past is so much easier than taking a decisive action on your plan into an uncertain future. That's
You're telling
that's
me,
the hard
bud.
part,
All you level oneers, write that down. What you just said there. You
right?
know,
It's really easy looking back. Hindsight is 2020, and when you get it right and you take a good trade, you think you're a genius. You're like, I did it. I knew that. I knew it. And then when you take a bad trade, even if it's on your plan or something, it's so easy to say, I'm such an idiot, I got it wrong. When actually the only thing you should ever really consider is, did I follow my plan?
Yep.
So now when I follow my plan and I get a losing trade, I'm actually happy. But when I don't follow my plan and I get a winning trade, I'm disappointed with myself. So it's a really weird sort of backwards sort of understanding, because I could win money on a trade and I'll be disappointed that I didn't follow my plan. So I think that talk about discipline and understanding how to be disciplined in your trading plan is really important. And I'm coming at you guys like I'm making mistakes in all this all the time, like right now. In fact, recently, last week, I had one of my worst trades ever, which I'll show you. And right now I'm in a stop trading mode, which means I hit my demon finder too many times and I have to stop trading. And to be honest, it's a little embarrassing to tell you guys, because I'm meant to be like an emissary of good behavior. But, admitting my wrongdoings, I suppose, if anything, is good for you guys to see, because at least then you'll see that it's okay to screw up and you can still have a positive mental attitude in the face of that. And that's something that I feel like I've brought a little bit to TRI, and that's my background as well. So there's this idea I came up recently called the discipline domino, which is a way to start your discipline in a really easy way so that you get more and more disciplined over time.
Ooh,
and
I
I know
sound of that.
So I'll explain the discipline domino. It's a really, really cool thing. Have you ever seen the video with the guy with the little baby domino and it knocks over a massive domino? Have you ever seen that?
No, but I believe it.
Knocking over bigger. I wonder if I can find this really quickly. Yeah, this guy. This is brilliant. So this shows the chain reaction. Can you guys see this video?
Yep.
So this high domino, he's starting with this tiny little domino here, which is like, it weighs nothing. And the domino at the end is like a 300-pound domino or something. And he shows that just by knocking over the first domino, I ruined it for you. Just knocking over the first one, it creates this effect where the biggest one gets knocked over, which is it's hard for him to pick up. And that's the concept of the discipline domino, is if you start doing something, if you start acting on something disciplined that is really, really tiny, then you'll knock over the dominoes and your entire trading plan changes. So I know Grim has in his trading plan that he only takes a trade when he's wearing shoes. Am I right in saying that, Brian?
Sounds good. Yep.
Yeah, so that's an example of a disciplined domino.
Yeah.
He's making sure he's wearing shoes, which is the easiest thing in the world to do. But it creates this domino of discipline where if he's wearing his shoes, he knows to follow his plan, he knows to take the setup when it comes in, he knows to log and journal, and everything else happens from that.
Beautiful.
So my discipline domino that I'm doing right now is turning off my laptop an hour before I go to bed. And that discipline domino will result in me having better sleep, waking up earlier, getting more work done in the morning, which is better for my business. Trading better, being more focused, and is creating that discipline domino. So I recommend everyone tries to find maybe that tiny little thing that they can do in their day, which is easy to actually do, but it creates a discipline domino.
Yeah, I like that too, because if you say I'm going to trade perfectly as your objective,
yeah, it's too much.
I mean, it's so ambiguous.
Yeah, and it's too much pressure as well.
Yeah, I mean, how do you set yourself up with little successes so your subconscious goes, okay, cool, did that. Yep, oh, achieved that. Oh, did that. So that you can actually set yourself up for some of these bigger, I entered exactly there, I exited exactly there. So I really like this thinking.
Nice. So that takes me to
my discipline domino. I don't know whether you remember my trader checklist. But every single day I had to go through a checklist, and it would be like Do I have my computer on? Check. Hey, way to go,
Nice.
Brian. You
So that's
turned your
it's a
computer on.
perfect example, right? You've got these little steps of discipline which lead to the bigger discipline.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really, really powerful. So I've called that the discipline domino. So
That's awesome,
can
man. You
feel
better
that.
trademark that now.
Awesome. So that leads me into obviously the process, which is the thing that you are being disciplined on. I think reading the charts is actually relatively easy once you get the hang of it, because it's just patterns and we're pattern seeking animals. But actually following a process which goes against your emotion, that's not what people are meant to be able to do. You know, if we just follow our emotions naturally, we'd be really bad traders, and that's I'll show you an
Most of
example.
us are.
I'll show you an
How many
example of that
people
in a
lose
minute.
money at this game?
Okay, so these are my setups: the El Tanganator, the bot, and the Jesse James. And I've got it all in my trading plan. My trading plan is really straightforward. If you're from level 1, you've done this, then you should have your trading plan, which continues to be updated.
And I love the
And then-
simplicity of this. It's nice and clean and simple.
Yeah, I wanted it to be clean enough to print off, and this is my additional stuff. So actually, everything fits on one page. My
Cool.
strategic plan, the setups, the tactical plan, my capital outlay, additional considerations. Don't
What's,
trade in complicated, Brian, okay?
What's Cryptopia?
Yeah, so I need to update this. Don't be calling me out on Cryptopia, okay? I'm still trying to get my money back.
Hey, me too, buddy. Me too. I was just
I was
curious.
every, like,
I was
few
just
months
wondering
we
if you're
check
still
my
trading
phone,
there.
I'm like,
Are you able to log in?
No, I like just about check Twitter and see that they're still undergoing some sort of lawsuit, which is never going to end. And I know they've run away with everyone's money, but that's
That's
what type of risk is
capitalism.
that?
That's what
That
that
is
is.
the type of risk. Institutional risk? No,
Yeah, that would be that's systemic risk.
systemic risk. That's the one. I knew I had it on the tip of my tongue. So, okay, so in my trading plan, and this is really important because in my trading plan, my trading log, and my trading journal, I link between them. So I've got links to the trading journal and trading log here. So if I did this because if I was ever on one, I wanted to immediately access the others. So my trading log, up here you could see I've got my trading plan, my trading journal up there, and also in my actual trades up here, I've got links up here. So always have links to your journal and your plan. I just found that was easy. And then in my trade journal as well, link to the trading log and link to trading plan. So that's kind of a sort of little hack just so your mind is focused on the whole process at all times.
Mm-hmm.
The journal, I would say, is probably the most important thing in terms of everything. I remember, Brian, you told me a story once about there was a trader who kept his paper journals in a fireproof safe somewhere.
Well, actually, a lot of you are getting to know him. He doesn't go on the shows with Hogue, but the guy who owns that company that you all like, Top Step, Nebraska, he used to always tell us stories about that.
Right. So that's. I mean, I think that Google Docs is a little bit better than paper in a fireproof safe. It's my personal opinion.
It's not
that's
bad, but also, too, you know, there's something really, it's kind of like, you know, when you speak in your mind, that is one part of your brain working. When you actually say the words, it's a different part of your brain working. So, you know, psychologists and stuff working through problems, they often get people to talk things out because it's a different part of your brain that's working. So what I have found, and and of course at the end of the day, it's entirely up to you as an individual, but typing on a keyboard and it's saving it electronically versus writing something down, which takes a completely different part of your brain. It is very different. So I do see value in writing stuff out. The only problem is I've forgotten how to write. It's almost laughable. I went to the dentist and I had to fill out a form, and it was like, I forgot how to use this thing called a pen.
Well, actually, okay, so Brian, that's the perfect pivot because I wanted to do a little show and tell today
Oh, cool.
about my history with PMA. And this is actually one of the reasons why I love TRI so much and why I enjoyed. From the moment I started listening to you, Brian, I was like, yeah, this guy's got the right attitude. It was like you were positive, but not Moonboy positive, which is crazy. And, you know, Charlie Munger talks about having practical pessimism, where you're looking at the pessimistic side of things, but it's in a practical way, so you're trying to learn a lesson from it. And combine that with realistic optimism. So it's not delusional optimism, it's realistic. Things can get better, but how are they going to get better? So actually, for the last few years, I've kept success journals. I don't know if you guys can see this in my little camera.
No, where are you?
How do I display my camera?
That's okay. I just got to click. Yep, there you are. Now you're. Whoa. Everybody is getting to know Josh. Come on.
Hello, what's up?
Yeah,
So
there
this
he
is
is.
this is my success journal, and I've kept these every single year, as you can see, for like years.
Oh,
2016, 2015, 2014. And every single evening, I would write down, if you can see my camera, I would write down some of the things I did that day, right? So I got up early, I went to an event, I spoke to the guy who ran the event, and then like, I'm just picking random days. I worked out, I wrote some copy. So every single day, and this has happened for years, and obviously I've missed a few weeks here and there, but to reiterate what you said, Brian, that writing is key. Writing down your successes every day, it creates this, again, this domino effect, coming back to the discipline domino, where you can look back at your successes, or you're constantly reminded that you can improve, you can change, you can grow. And, you know, if you keep a record of your success and you journal your progress, that's something that you can build upon forever. It's a huge foundation. So the trade journal.
Can I subscribe to your newsletter?
I resonated with that. Go on.
I mean, geez, you are awesome. You really are. What a beautiful role model for TRI. Geez, I could learn stuff from Josh. So proud of you, man.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I mean, that's why I resonated so much with the trade journal. And anytime I got my emotions too much involved, I would journal, get the thoughts out.
I hope you have a fireproof safe.
I don't. I need one.
Well, Josh bought me this cute little microphone for the show. So now it sounds to me like I got to return the favor. I got to buy you this little fireproof safe. So what are the dimensions of those journals? It'd just be a little one that sits on your desk.
About the size of my water bottle.
Oh, you're awesome, man.
Okay,
You're so awesome. Should we go back to the screen presentation? Like right now, everybody's getting a big mug of your mug. Oh, you're a handsome guy. You're a handsome guy.
Let's go back to the screen. So I'll jump into my trade log now as well.
I hope you guys are enjoying this presentation, because this is...
Yeah, I hope you guys are getting some value from this.
This is
I'm
beautiful.
Not sure.
Fuck, man. This is really, really great stuff.
Awesome. Perfect.
All right, go ahead.
+5. I get 5 points. Woohoo!
Score.
So are we seeing my screen now as well?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So let's go into my trading log, and I want to take you back in time to how I started my trading log. So this was back in like 2019-ish, and this is the absolute basics of a trading log that I ever did. I just put the date, the market, the trade that I was doing, long or short, the entry price, the stop price, the target price, the amount of risk and reward, the chart, and then when I exited the trade, and I always have this little gap between the entrance of the trade, which is this stuff, and the exit of a trade. Then I put the exit, whether it was a profit or a loss, and then the exit chart. For some reason at that time, I had my reasons over here and then the setup over here. So that's what I found to be the minimum. But then I realized when I started trading on BitMEX, and BitMEX, the casino, right? So I started trading on BitMEX, and I realized that if you're trading with leverage and you're trading with more money that you actually have, the emotions are absolutely insane, and you just want to jump back into a trade when your last one failed, or you want to take a trade that you think is going up and then it goes down, and then you're freaking out, but then it goes up, but you just got out, and it's just madness. So you have to be really, really disciplined. And I'm talking to myself here, by the way, guys, because like it's embarrassing how bad I've been with trading. So this is for me to make this log better. So it got a little bit better.
Right? Is everybody who's new to this, you're gonna suck. You're gonna
absolutely
just accept that, right?
Yeah.
And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to lay the foundation for you to not suck. and
Yeah.
it's going
You
to
can
take
just
some.
not suck. Then that's doing pretty well.
It's going to take some time to get from suck to not suck. And Josh here, I think, is actually, this is great for everybody because you can actually see the physical time and effort he's putting in to make that transition.
Yeah, I think I'm halfway through the mid-ground of suck and not suck at the moment.
Right?
Which I'll show you based on my actual profit and loss. So that'll be interesting.
Right.
So that's how I kind of started with logging. Didn't last very long, as you can see. Then I got into this demon finder stuff. Brian keeps talking about these demons. So yeah, I'm full of demons. I basically, not only did I do all of the demons that Brian found, but I found demons that Brian didn't even know about.
Whoops.
That apparently only I do. So
well, that's good if you can add. So, like, what are you talking about?
I added, yeah.
Yeah,
I added a lot.
A lot. Oh, wow.
Yeah, too much. So then I went into, then I got into a bit more detail in my trades, and I started this log where I started putting more stuff in there, my targets over there. I still was keeping the risk and reward. And then I started adding a specific log journal, which this is key for me. So every single trade, I put a note tab. And in order to do this, you just right click and you click insert note. And then that will be you can put a note in and you can type in as much as you want. So I ended up journaling on every single trade. And this became a habit that I really, really liked. You can see that I put green for the winners and red for the losers. But as you can see, this started to psychologically bother me because all I saw was red, and that doesn't help. So I stopped doing that, and I moved over to this log. This is Q1 of 2020. So this is really recent, and I'm still getting better at this. I'm still putting my risk and reward here. So I took that out eventually, but you can see this is a bit of a mess. And that's when I started this log over here. And this is where things started to get much, much better for me. But as you can see, I'm still screwing up on the trade. So what I started to do is I put my reasons for a trade inside the log itself. You can see the location, momentum, structure, and the time frame that I'm on. So 60-minute, 15-minute, this is all minutes. And then the size of the trade. So obviously with trade sizes of this size, 20,000 or whatever, then they are red. And I'll tell you how I set this up so you could do this for yourself. And I've already set one up for you guys, which I'll drop a link in the group somewhere in the Rocket chat. But basically what you do is if you want to have these change color, you basically right click and click conditional formatting, and you add a rule that says if the value equals to yes, then it's green. And if the value equals to no, then it's red. So this happens automatically. So if I change this to no, you can see it goes red. And if I change it to yes, it goes green. So that's automatic. With the time frame, it's any time that is lower than 59, which is less than an hour time frame, is going to be red. So if I take a 30-minute time frame trade, it's red. And over here in the size, for my plan, I found that anything more than 8,000 contracts on a single trade, based on the amount I have in my account, is too much risk. And so anything above 8,000 here is going to be red, and anything below 8,000 is going to be green. And my rule now is that I want to get at least 3 greens. And I'll show you why I came up with the 3. But you can see that I've done that all up in here. And all this calculates automatically. So the loss, all this does is it counts the L's in this column. The scratch counts the S's, and the wins count the W's. So that should be wins over here. Then everything else is calculated automatically. And right over here on the front page, I have my general trading plan. Again, links to the journal, links to the plan. I got my trading setup checklist over here, and I got my position size calculator as well. So whatever percentage risk on a trade, it tells me how much I can actually put in the position size depending on my level of risk. So right now I'm going to be in the beginner stage because I'm in a stop trading mode, which basically means that I had a few losers in a row, and they weren't because I was doing like bad trades, so to speak. It was because I wasn't following my plan. And that's it. If I've got too many no's over here, then it just means I'm not following my plan. And I also keep this history tab, and this is really cool. And I recommend all you guys do this, because even though I've got all these Q1, Q2, Q3 stuff, I put everything into one tab, and that's the history tab. So right over here, you can see if I sort A to Z, I've gotten something like 232 trades now. And you can see the total loss is insane. The total gain is more. So my profit overall is more than profitable. But if I hadn't have been in TRI, if I hadn't met Brian, if I hadn't been following even a modicum of a plan, I guarantee you I would have blown up multiple accounts. And the biggest thing here that I want you guys to look at is the average winner and the average loser. Now, Brian always teaches that your average winner has to be greater than your average loser. And right here, you can see that the way I've calculated this is I've got my profit and loss over here, and I've created a formula that says calculate the average of everything below zero. So anything that's in the minus, it calculates the average. Anything here, calculate the average above zero. So this will calculate the average of my winners and losers. And my average loser is 121. My average winner is 323. But my win-loss ratio is only 31%. And again, this is all calculated automatically by counting the win-loss. So what I need to do, as per rule number 1 of trading, is to increase my win-loss ratio up to 50 to 60%. So the first rule of TRI, of course, is to follow a plan that succeeds 60 to 70% of the time. So that's a big area which I need to improve. But the reason I love putting everything in a nice little group like this is because I can sort it out. And if I sort out my winners to the top, you can see, and this is why, coming back to the why I need 3 green boxes, because if I have three green boxes on most of these trades, then they are my top winners over here, right? So even if I screw up on the time frame or the too much size, then I can still do really, really good trading. But if I sort this by the losers, right, and this is really embarrassing, so no judgments, but this is a testament to why I did this. I track this so that I can see, why am I screwing up? Why am I losing trades? And I actually had to backtrack and do these because I wasn't even tracking these correctly. But you can see, like, some of these trades, they're just embarrassing why I took this. It's not in location. There's no momentum. It's just bad. I'm going to stop showing this just because this is so embarrassing. But
Dude, this is fucking gold.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. So you can see the difference there.
You know what? Just the fact that you have the charisma to be able to just talk about this publicly it's very advanced of you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I mean, the time and effort that you put into this is brilliant.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. It still feels a bit embarrassing. I'm not going to lie, but that's just because I want to be an emissary of good behavior, and if anything, this will help me do that better. But I want to switch between the winners and the losers, and I want you guys to just look at the red and the green over here.
Exactly. I mean, and
tell me the difference. I mean, these are the losers, these are the winners. Look how much green there is on the winners, and that's just because I followed my plan, right?
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
It's beautiful.
And obviously,
in fact,
I kept the journal over here.
It's so simply, you know, and the irony of this all, like Dr. Barry Gordon would say, is that, you know, we're all, you know, and Josh here, I think he's a very, very good person. But what we don't understand is the problem here is the mistakes. And Josh has actually built himself a tool to
show the mistakes
and visually confirm when I don't make mistakes. I actually do really good.
I mean, look at this. When I don't make mistakes, like all in the top here, there's so much green, and I screw up some, but you know what that means? That's just a false positive. And what's really crazy, put that back. What's really crazy about false positives is that when people trade badly and they succeed, they think that it's because they're trading well. And then they double down and they put loads of money in a trade and they love their account. That's the worst.
Yep.
So I actually wanted to find where are the false positives, right? So if I look at my winning trades, you can see, for example, this one. Everything was wrong, right? It was all completely wrong. And let's just look into this because I don't even remember this. But look at the mess on that chart. Why am I even taking a trade there? So the fact that I got into this trade and got out with one of my highest profitable trades, it would make me think in general, I'm a god, I can do this, I'm amazing. But actually, no, this is the worst way to trade, and it was luck. And I can see that clearly here now that this was luck. And in fact, if I want to be consistent with trading, then I have to follow the plan, because if I just am lucky all the time, and again, look at the losers, right? Look how much red there is there. If I try to be consistent with a losing plan like this, then I'm gonna keep blowing up my account. So
And
again,
I don't see any that have like all yeses.
no, it's not very common, and that's actually where I want to improve. Like some here, like this one's all yes, one of my top trades. But it's rare. And you know what, with this kind of setup, I can actually organize it so that you can find the winners just like this, right? So there you can see, like, there's a lot of yeses on these ones. These are all yeses, and you can see a bunch of them are wins, a few stops, a few losses, right? But the winners are all way bigger than the losses here. So again, there's so many ways to analyze your log once you have a log like this, but it's just an edge. Like, I can go back and look at this. Right now, I'm in a no trading position, right? Because I screwed up with my trades a few times last week during this madness, and I'm in a no trade zone, which means all I'm doing is going into my history and analyzing my best trades. And I look at things like this, and I see why did some of them do so well and some of them do bad, and I can break it down. So I don't want to talk too much about this because you guys are probably getting bored of it.
Just a quick question we're getting: does the LS column stand for long short?
Yeah, let me break that down. Actually, I'll break down the columns and why I created them. Okay. So let me sort this A to Z. The long short and the trend, I put these two columns there to make sure that I'm trying to always follow the trend unless I have really specific reasons why I'm not. For example, the El Tanganator setup is a trade that goes against the trend because you're trying to predict when the trend is going to change, right? So for example, that setup, it's okay. It was long, my trade was long here, but the trend was down, but it's an El Tanganator, so that's okay, right? But generally, if I'm doing a short, I want to make sure that the trade is down, right? If I'm doing a long, I want to make sure the trade is up. So that's just a way of keeping myself accountable that I'm following the trend, right? I hope that makes sense.
Solid.
Cool. Then I make sure I put my stop set in here. The rest of the stuff I already talked about. Obviously, you want to put your chart entry. I always make sure that I put my stop set, and you can see that's a lot of yeses, except for a couple of no's there when it's a quick loser. But make sure you have the stop set, the target set, whether I hit scratch, whether it was a win or loss, the profit and loss size, and in my quarterly ones, I break down how much that is in actual pounds as well, just because I feel like that's more real than XBT. Who knows what XBT means? So, and then you have an exit chart and then the journal. And then I'll show you guys on the one that I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you this one. There's also the Demon Finder. Okay, so if you take a bad trade, and this is all set up with the conditions already. So let's say you didn't have location, you had momentum, you had structure. You set the time, it was a 5-minute chart because you're crazy, wacko, and insane, and you like to lose money. And you put 100,000 on the trade. Okay, I won't say that. Okay, you put 10,000 on the trade. So it's already built in with the numbers, and you can change these by right-clicking and clicking conditional formatting. And then over here you can put the Demon Finder in. So I didn't have location, so I put an X over there, and it goes red, as you can see. I got the time wrong, so time frame wrong, right? And trade size was wrong. So again, you can look back at this in the future, and this is all about being honest with yourself, looking back. Because circling back to hindsight is 2020. It's really easy to look back and be honest with yourself than it is to look forward. So you know what's strange? Sometimes I actually think I've got location because I'm on a small time frame or something, and I say, yeah, I'm in location. I take the trade is a failure. I zoom out a little bit, and I'm like, Josh, was that actually location? And then I go back and I change it, just so I can be honest with myself. So my past analysis is always getting better. So this is for you guys, and I'll drop this in the chat. I've got a link to this. So let me do that right now.
If you don't mind, I'll just throw that in the library.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to. I dropped it in the Rocket chat right now. So
Cool.
You guys have that.
Thank you, sir.
And feel free to play with it and add to it. In fact, right now, in my analysis right now, what I'm doing is, as you can see, I have the trade calculator over here. And also in my log itself, I have a trade calculator right up here. So I put in the risk, and it tells me how much I can actually risk. What I want to do now in my log is put that as a column itself. So I put the risk, and it tells me how much my position size should be. So every single trade, I'm forced to have the correct position size. So this is an ongoing process. You know, I've never stopped learning. You never stop improving. Just like the success journal, just like with the discipline domino, you want to keep putting in the effort to be developing yourself and learning and improving yourself. So I'm just a part of this process, still breaking even, still getting good at trading. Hopefully this has helped you guys and given you some value, but there's my little contribution for today.
Fantastic, man. Hats
Awesome.
off. Very, very good stuff.
Thank you.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
Nice. I hit the top of the hour pretty closely, I would say.
I think you hit the top of the nail of the head and the hammer and the clock and everything. You just knocked the cover off the ball. Woohoo! Now look what's going on.
Woohoo! Nice. Awesome. Colleen,
right. And you get a nice little, for YouTube, we'll give you a nice little, there's a picture of Josh for you there. So you're even on the record. Okay, let's,
Nice.
I think
Awesome.
I have to hit F11s. There we go. And we'll zip back there. And really, you know, guys, I think we probably just, we should just wind it up at that. I mean, that was beautiful work. So I will go into the library and maybe we'll put it under trading utilities. I don't know whether I'm sharing my screen here for you guys in the Hangout. But thank you so much, sir. And that's if that is an example of 1 + 1 = 3, I don't know what is. That was just fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, feel free, if you're going to use this, then go to File and make a copy. Yeah, so you get your own version of it and play around with it. See what happens with the trades and the win-loss ratio and all this stuff, and trade your edge, guys. That's the whole point.
Awesome. All right, sir. So thank you so much for that. We'll bring an end to the broadcast here. And today being Wednesday, we have a level 3 group tutorial session here in about 2.5, well, almost 3 hours. So we'll look forward to seeing all the God motors, and I want to see what your workstations look like. So you don't get off easy here at TRI, and I want to see Josh kind of effort from all of you. All right. Thank you so much. I guess the only thing we got to do is somehow take us on out of here. So
I did the entry, so should I do the exit?
Of course, but you got to wait for the lead in. So here it comes. You ready? Here we go.
Ready. So
the only thing left for us to say at TRI is
bye.